The Jeep Wrangler is an iconic vehicle with an iconic appearance. But if you're like me, you probably have a pet peeve with these plastic fenders. So today, I'm gonna walk you through installing Combat Off-Road's fenders and inner liners and get away from those bulky factory plastic fenders.
To start off this install, we need to remove the factory inner liner and the fender. To get the liner out, there's going to be plastic rivets that run up the back of the fender, and there's going to be bolts that are in the wheel well. You'll know if you missed one, it will not want to come out.
There should be. Now once you get the inner liner out, you're going to see this plug right here, just up on the back corner. That is going to be for your factory blinker and your daytime running light. We'll just get that unplugged right now. All right, for this next part, I can't really think of any easy way to do it. You got white plastic clips inside. I don't have the proper tools for it. So don't do what I did. I busted the corner of my stock fender. So if you plan on reusing them, there's a 10 mil here and a 10 mil here. All right, with your inner liner and your fender all removed and your Jeep looking pretty badass with no fender, now we can start the reverse process. All right, let's grab the front inner liner box. We'll crack it open and see what's inside. Everything you need for mounting your inner is in this box. The overall finish on these is very nice. And you can actually pop out these plates. They're just aluminum plates back here. And you can custom paint these whatever color you want. I'm just gonna leave it raw metal. I think it looks really slick. Your inner liner is gonna come as a 3-piece kit. So we'll get that assembled right now. And just like that, one inner liner is assembled and ready to go on the Jeep. All right, let's do a little mock-up fit test here. Just kind of see where I gotta put the rib nuts. Because you can look all you want, but seeing it for yourself makes a world of difference. All right, so before we put the inner liner in, we have to drill out this hole and we have to drill out this hole for rib nuts. We're gonna be going to a 23/64. You're gonna be drilling out the front bracket, front upper bracket, in this little spot right here. Get our rib nuts pressed in.
Now I learned this the hard way, but we're going to want to install the fender before we install the inner liner. There's a piece of doweling that acts as a stiffener that you bolt the fender to, and it's behind the inner liner. And on top of that, you also want to be able to route your wiring for your new light before the new inner liner is in the way.
So with a 5/16 drill bit, I'm just going to drill through the fender here to put our support bar in.
I recommend doing a quick mock-up fit with the new fender. Take a paint pen and mark out the holes where you're going to be putting rib nuts. I also can't stress this enough. Put the new pin light in for your new blinker before bolting the fender on. You will not be able to get that light in unless you do it before the fender's on the Jeep.
All right, I gotta explain a few things to you. So I had to pop out the inner liner again to get this shim in because it actually bolts the fender on at the bottom. So ignore what I had to say earlier. And also, I have to route the wiring for the new blinker. So I've taken the old harness out of the fender and I've just snipped it off at the lights. And Combat actually gives you a diagram for what each wire does to be able to rewire it to the new blinker. So that's what I'm gonna do right now. And then I can tuck the wiring up nice and clean in behind the inner liner and get it looking good. So I'm gonna do that. All right, we're gonna focus. All right, so I managed to get it all figured out. So from the stock harness, you're gonna have a white and yellow wire. You're gonna run that to the white one. That's for your daytime running light. You're gonna have your red wire coming off of the new light. You're gonna route that to the white and green wire. It's gonna be for your turn signal. And then black to black for your ground. We have our marker light running now. When I do turn the blinker on, she flashes for a blinker. So I'm gonna get this harness all taped up properly and clean, and then we can get that all tucked away and just repeat that process for the other side. I hope this tutorial on how to do this saves you from a lot of hassle that I'm going through, because currently I have to unbolt the flares enough that I can get the front pulled out to fit the marker light in. So don't make the same mistake I did. Put your lights in the fender before you bolt them on. All right, with this riv nut pressed in and this riv nut pressed in, we can go ahead and get the inner liner installed. Next, you're going to take your metal tabs here, and you're going to take, this one's for the passenger side in the orientation, and you're just going to loosen off this 10mm bolt right here that connects the grill, and this is going to slip in between it. So with all your new mounting points located, you're going to have one there, one down there, you're going to have this guy right here, and this one down here. Once those are all complete, you're ready to install your inner liner. Just like that, the front inner liner is installed. You just have to repeat the process on the other side. You'll be well on your way. All right, so after all day, essentially, I've managed to get the front fenders and the front inners installed on the Jeep. I learned a lot of things I wish I knew before I started. So the biggest thing that held me up today so far has been that the riv nuts that come with Combat, or that come with Combat's kit, are a fine thread riv nut, whereas the riv nut gun I have is a national coarse thread 1/4 inch riv nut gun. So I wasn't able to actually use their riv nuts, so I ran all over town for a few hours trying to find a gun that would accept the fine thread riv nuts. Couldn't find one. And so I resorted to actually changing over to national coarse riv nuts, and a lot of places didn't actually have riv nuts, so I ended up having to drive out of town to go get some, and managed to get them installed with using different hardware. Also, install the fenders first, do the liners after. And on top of that, make sure that your marker lights are in before you install them, or else you'll be taking them back off to put the marker lights in, because you can't get them in if the body's right behind it. Would have saved me a lot of time. Let's do the rears now. On the rear, same thing. We're going to drill all these plastic rivets, and then we can pull the inner out. All right, there's that one. And just body clips along there. I'm just getting it done now. I ain't worrying about no clips. I'm gonna do the other side quick, and then we'll get to installing the inners and the fender on this side.
We're going to repeat the same process we used on the front. Do a quick mock-up, mark out the holes with a paint pen, where you're going to be putting some riv nuts.
So started with installing the support brackets for the inner fenders. Come on, focus camera. And they're specific for each side. So the one on the passenger side has a little bow in it going to the back. And the one on the driver's side is generally pretty flat. It's a little bit shorter. Alright, it's been a few weeks since I finished up the install. Honestly, the back is super simple. When you put the inner liner in, those tabs I just showed you, you just run 2 bolts into there, and those little clips, you're just going to thread in. And then there's a few clips that you have along the top of the fender. You run a bolt through a few of the holes in the side of the Jeep. You run riv nuts in once you mark them out with paint pen, and the fender will just bolt right on. It's super simple. And honestly, I'm super happy with how this has turned out. I've gotten some mud on them, and I've definitely put them to use and rubbed them up against a few trees, and they're fantastic. I'm really enjoying them. So I hope this video has helped you save yourself from a few mistakes like I went through, and enjoy your new fenders.